Oh, do I feel good today? What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Edge, and it is Week 11 in the National Football League, and so many things are changing as we go. I, of course, am the coach. We are powered by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it's not close. All of the odds on the Early Edge are powered by our incredible partners, the king of all sports books, BetMGM. Now, yesterday, part of the reason I'm in such a great mood, our college football mega preview. If you took the time to watch us live or even on demand, you are very happy today, 11-6. And can I add an extra check mark? Because I told all of you live, if you watched it, that Tennessee leg of the parlay would not hit. That would be the only one. And that's the only one that did not hit. I know my stuff, ladies and gentlemen, but not as well as my two rock stars today. Let's bring him in because we got a lot to get to. 8 early games, 3 at 4 o'clock. Proppy is on assignment today. He will not be here early, but the counselor is here. Our 5-tool player, AB, is here. And AB, you're a part of that incredible Saturday. You get our 15 seconds. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Coach. Good afternoon. See ya. Absolutely. And let me say, the 15 seconds is this. Blood is drawn between Ohio State and Michigan this week. Ohio State, the ones that turned in Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, both teams undefeated, playing each other this week. They already hated each other. Now there's a real reason to hate each other. I can't wait for this one.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be a busy, busy week in college football, National Football League. Thanksgiving, you got a game on Friday. We'll be here every single step of the way just for you. So, gentlemen, we got a lot to get to, so let's jump right in. Falcons, Colts, Patriots, Saints, have a seat. You got a bye week today. But where are we going to start? I'll tell you where we're going to start. We're going to start at the top with the game that so much has changed this week. Counselor, I'm going to come to you because a week ago, right here on this show, we talked about the AFC North, how potentially all 4 teams, if it fell right, could make a playoff run. And now we sit here today, Joe Burrow out for the season for the Bengals, 5-5 now. And we have the Browns. They lose Deshaun Watson. They're at home, but somehow they are favored over the 6-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. The total is sitting at a robust 34. So with the Browns without, and I'm staring at my notes going, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, welcome to the show. He just happened to play the last time they played the Steelers. Start us off, sir.
Yeah, it's interesting. When you look at the total, it reminds you of college football, like maybe an Iowa Air Force tilt or something Iowa related. And speaking of college, listen, I liked DTR a lot at UCLA. I think he's a really good quarterback. I mean, he's got a lot of the intangibles, and including like he's got like your classic height. I think he has a strong arm. He can run around. He's certainly a fast guy. The question I have here is whether he's ready. When I thought Deshaun Watson was playing in this game, when it was -4, on Monday, this was going to be my favorite bet of the year. And don't forget how adamant I was about that San Francisco bet last week. I liked this one better than that. And now that DTR is in there, I kind of preferred PJ Walker. But here's the thing. One thing I know is that DTR over the last 3 or 4 weeks has probably been preparing to be the starter, given that we knew Deshaun Watson was having shoulder injuries. So one thing we're not privy to, listen, the assessment that DTR has a lack of experience is obviously true. But one thing we're not privy to is what's going on in practice. And if DTR can just kind of play air quotes within himself, then I think this Cleveland Browns defense can take over. I think Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt can maybe matriculate the ball downfield enough. Listen, this Pittsburgh Steelers offense, especially away from home, it does not inspire any confidence. So while I loved Cleveland -4 when they had Deshaun, I still like Cleveland -1.5 at home playing Kenny Pickett.
All right. So the Browns, that's how I kind of leaned until I said, you know what? Mike Tomlin, AB, is seeming to figure out a way every single week to get the job done somehow. And I saw a stat on one of the NFL shows, and I can't remember, but basically they're like the first team to have a record like this and not have a plus yardage, something like that. But they are making history, but not in a good way, except for their record. Talk to me.
Yeah, Coach, you're exactly right. And the stat, what it is that up until last week, they were the first team in NFL history to have a winning record and be outgained in every single game this season. They finally overcame that last week. But again, I mean, like you said, you've got to give credit to Mike Tomlin. This guy does it over and over and over. Kenny Pickett, he hasn't turned the ball over in 5 straight games. And quite honestly, that's the big reason why, is that the Steelers just aren't turning the ball over. Like they'll punt They'll play field position and say, all right, good luck, man. Like, we got some dudes that are going to rush the passer. You're going to have to deal with TJ Watt all day long. But I agree with Sia, man. Like, DTR is a good QB. I kind of dig the Browns in this one. I dig the under, even though it's sitting at 34. It's so low, but you're going to see two teams, quite frankly, that really don't want to turn the ball over. And I'll end it with this. Here's an interesting stat. In the history of the Cleveland Browns, when they are trailing in a game by 14 points or more, all right, I know it's a big ask for Pittsburgh, they have never beaten an AFC North team. They are 0-59 when they are trailing by 14 points or more. Big ask, but something fun to pay attention to.
So you're saying if they go up by 14, we can turn the game off and we'll just go somewhere else.
Cut it.
Interesting. Yeah. The Ravens are sitting there right now going, well, that's not how we do it.
Yeah, we do that every week.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday for us. All right. It'll be a fascinating game, but I tell you what, the Steelers, they didn't win this one to stay within shouting distance, and the Browns do too. Don't sleep. They both have really good records. All right, game number 2. And this, gentlemen, this is my lock of the week. I cannot believe this number is coming down instead of going up. This started around 9, and now it's coming all the way down to 7.5. Detroit, they are one of the elite teams in the NFC. They would love to stay within shouting distance of the Eagles for the top seed in the NFC. So they're favored by 7.5. Full transparency, counselor. I bought it down to 6.5 at about 150. I felt the juice was worth the squeeze. Am I stupid?
No, I kind of agree with you. I mean, listen, a lot of people will say, hey, don't buy points because you're not really getting the value there. But in this particular case, listen, I understand why the line went down at the beginning of the week, very beginning of the week. We thought Tyson Bagent might still be playing. Obviously, it's going to be Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields might have a good game. And I think DJ Moore, I think Cole Kmet, they might have a good game. I didn't have any props on them, but I think those two, especially Cole Kmet, are probably in play. The problem is Detroit is pretty healthy offensively. I mean, they can hit you with the pass and the run. And now that you have this 1-2 punch with Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery, like I just don't see the Bears defense really stopping them. So buying it under that 7, I think makes a lot of sense. And for the record, we have this at 7.5. This, if you're into teasers, which I'll concede, I generally am not, or maybe money line parlays, which sometimes I'll sprinkle a little bit here and there. A 6-point teaser here makes a lot of sense to me. Get it under 2. I mean, you could do a 7-point teaser, but you may as well do the money line at that point. Point being, I think the Detroit Lions are going to win this game. At home, Jared Goff has been very, very good. We'll see some sparks from the Chicago Bears, but I do think Detroit wins this by 7 or more. Not an official pick for me on this game. Next game we're going to cover, I have an official pick finally. But I do like what you did, Coach, quite a bit.
And maybe if you're into the teasers, you could throw the Steelers in, and they would be plus 7.5. And that'd be a nice little other side of the teaser if you're looking for another team with the Detroit Lions. By the way, I forgot to tell you guys that David Njoku, Uncle Dave from the Prop Show, is on him over 3.5 catches because he has a good relationship with Dorian. And he made that point live on the show on Friday. So as I come to you, AB, you have an official play in this game. What do you got, big boy?
We do, and the official play is going to be this. We're going to take Jahmyr Gibbs over 71.5 rushing and receiving yards, and I will tell you exactly why. Sia hinted on it, and the game plan for Detroit, really, especially with Justin Fields coming back, is that you just basically play keep away. You just have long, sustained scoring drives, and you keep him out of a rhythm. He's already been gone. He's coming back from injury, and you say, all right, not only are you doing all that, but I'm going to make you do it in kind of a disjointed style of play. You're not going to be able to get comfortable and get your bearings, get your sea legs, so to say. We're going to make this disjointed for you. And Jahmyr Gibbs is exactly the guy that can do that. If you look, he has 3 straight games of 100+ scrimmage yards with a TD. It's a great day to make it for him.
So let me ask you this real quick, because Uncle Dave is on Jared Goff under 34.5 pass attempts. Interesting Chick-fil-A nugget for you two, that last week the Lions scored 41 points. What did I say the number was? 34.5, right? Do you know how many pass attempts Jared Goff had in a game where they scored 41 points?
No.
33. Ooh. 33. So he went on this number with 41. So we're on that play today. But AB, quickly, over 1.5 for Goff, plus money from the chat.
I actually like it. I think that the Lions are going to have success here, and I think that, Goff can do it in the air deep. He can also throw to the running backs inside the red zone and a little bit outside as well. Don't hate it at all. Absolutely.
All right, very, very good. By the way, if you're just dropping in right now, it's about 12 past the hour. This is the Early Edge. We do it 2 times every single Sunday. He is the counselor of cash. He is our 5-tool player, AB. Thank you for working on Sundays when nobody else, no other brand is out. I don't see anybody except for us. Now, game number 3. And counselor, you already teased it. See what I did there? That you would have an official pick in this game. We're talking the Chargers coming off that really difficult loss to the Lions where they scored 38 and still lose. So they're favored by 3, going to Green Bay, taking on the Fighting Jordan Loves. Total is 44. So where are we going? How are you attacking this one, counselor?
Everybody knows that I don't like Jordan Love. I don't love Jordan Love as an NFL starting quarterback, but I do think this is the time to support him in some way possible. And you said it yourself, Coach. This Chargers defense, we know it's bad. They just gave up 41 to Detroit. Now, Detroit and Green Bay, not the same team, obviously, but this Chargers team has to travel to the East Coast, play a 1:00 game, and face Jordan Love, who is actually really kind of spreading it around. The completion percentage remains very low. But with all of his targets healthy, I think the Packers team total over 20.5 is a very good play. Listen, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave, Aaron Jones, they're all healthy. And I think this is the type of defense where we can see Jordan Love. Yeah, that completion percentage may stay down, but not only will he hit all of these targets more often than not, in my opinion, but the Chargers are going to push them because the Chargers, even if Keenan Allen is a little banged up, Mike Williams out, they're still going to score points. So I was actually leaning in the beginning of the week at the Packers +3, but instead, I really think the team total is the play here. And by the way, Jair Alexander, he's not going to play today. So we have even more incentive for the Packers to push the ball downfield because we know that the Chargers are going to score. Give me the Packers team total over 20.5.
Yeah, they're going to have the mindset that they have to keep up because the Chargers, no matter who they play, they seem to score points. By the way, Dylan in the chat says, first time catching the show live. What up? Dylan, what up with you? Thanks for hanging out with us. Tell all your friends. We want everybody. Now, AB, I'm coming over to you. Because the one thing I love about being partners with BetMGM is they are constantly coming up with different ways to play certain things, which brings us to your play in this game. What do you have?
The BetMGM Early Edge special is on the table for today, a week before Thanksgiving. That's how fantastic BetMGM is. We're going to take Jordan Love, Justin Herbert over 1.5 interceptions at +125. Now, understand, this is combined. It could be 1-1. It could be Jordan Love throwing 2, could be Justin Herbert throwing 2, right? Any combination of these guys counts, and we're going to get it at plus money. And Sia hinted on it, exactly why. You're going to see both teams stretching the field through the air. They're both going to feel comfortable throwing the ball over and over and over today, which I do agree with Sia. That's a great play on the Packers. I think that both teams are going to score points. It's going to actually be a really fun game. That being said, when both quarterbacks are putting the ball in the air this much, you're going to see interceptions. So take that here. Also, pass attempts on either side, probably a pretty good play as well.
I am listening to both of you, and I'm wondering if maybe we should sprinkle a little bit on the over today, which currently sits at 44. Would we hate that?
I love it.
We hate it, right?
No, I like that quite a bit as well.
3 other plays from this game from #TheCrew. Proppy is on Aaron Jones under 54.5 rush yards. We know about his hamstring issue he's been dealing with in and out of the lineup all season long. RJ from our mega preview every single Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Back then, the Packers were +3. Same number today. He loved the Packers on Tuesday. Then EC is on Jaden Reed over 35.5 receiving yards. If you watch the prop show, he told you he would play it up to 110. No, I'm kidding. Although that's a very EC thing to do. It's a very EC thing to do. By the way, Godfrey in the chat, who's just complaining about the NFL being random and you only bet the Super Bowl. Why are you here? I know we're entertaining. I get that. But why are you here? But as
the Super Bowl's the most difficult game to bet.
Hardest, and that's what he said, because the Super Bowl, I get all the season's tendencies.
Yeah.
That's true. And almost every single number is efficient. That's
and you get 30-minute timeouts.
Yeah, exactly. But Godfrey, we're glad you're here. Hit the like button for me if you don't mind. Thank you. All right. Now, this next one, I think low-key could be the game of the day. Call me crazy. But the Raiders have won 2 in a row under Antonio Pierce. They're playing a different kind of confidence in their football. Now, this number, I thought about playing it. I didn't. I played the over. But the Dolphins are favored by 14. Counsel, let me come to you. Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to go to AB first because you have an official play in this game. And when the Dolphins play at home, they're a different kind of offense as well. What do you like?
The Dolphins at home are a completely different team. And look, I love everything that Antonio Pierce has done, but buddy, you're going across the country. Do it on the road. Here's the thing. Take a look. The Dolphins favored by 14 points. You see it right there. I'm going to take the Dolphins over 3.5 team touchdowns today because first off, they're favored by 14 points. I can't believe that this number is this low. Honestly, I thought touchdowns would be set at 5.5. I can't believe it's set at 3.5. Look, the Dolphins, especially coming off of a bye as well. I'm not even going to waste your time with an explanation. The Dolphins are scoring 4 touchdowns or more today at home. Take them. It's going to be a fun game.
It's going to be a ton of fun. Can you imagine? What do you think the odds would be if it was 5.5 touchdowns? This is minus 110. I'd say probably plus 200, plus 300. Maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, EC also has a pick in this game. He loves Jalen Waddle over 53.5 or 63.5 receiving yards. I think both Jalen Waddle, Counselor, and Tyreek Hill are going to have big games today. They've had a few weeks where they haven't been on point. They need to get that back, especially the way the rest of the division is just falling off. It's theirs, but they got to think about seeding as well. Your thoughts?
It is theirs, and I think they have to kind of win this game, maybe handily early, just to make sure they have it secure. I mean, as far as Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, it's hard because we know HN is back. We have Raheem Mostert. Cedric Wilson sort of gets in the mix. I think the only reliable guy game to game is Tyreek Hill, so I think that's where I'd probably looking in the yardage market, but I'm altogether off this game. What's really curious about this total is that it was 46 earlier in the week. We see it at 44.5 at BetMGM. At some places, it's down to 44. This isn't a weather issue. This is just the line coming down. And I wonder what the reason for that is. I will say this, the Dolphins, as good as they are, they have been known to get off to slow starts. Now, if anybody's going to get off to a slow start, it's the Raiders on the West Coast traveling for a 1 o'clock game. But I want to point something out. If the Raiders get off to a slow start offensively, which I think we can expect a little bit, and Miami gets off to a slow start, even at home, that happens to them. I would hammer that live over because you're going to see this line has already been coming down to 44. If we go 6 or 7 minutes and there's not a score, you're going to see this line come down to 41, maybe a flat 40. I think that's when I would hammer the over there. So for me, this is a live bet scenario or nothing. I do think the Dolphins are going to win the game easily, but I think the line is too high. 14 is way too high. So it's a stay away for sure.
Yeah, AB, go.
I wanted to jump in real quick on what Sia just said. It's a great live play game, especially if you could get the Raiders to score first on a field goal or touchdown. And I'll give you information why. The Dolphins have played 4 games at home this year. They've won all 4, they've covered all 4, and they've won all 4 by an average of 25 points in those 4. And here's the thing, Mike McDaniel, as a head coach, when he's favored by double digits, not only has he won all 3 of them, he's covered all 3 of them. They play big when they're supposed to. So, yeah, if you get the Raiders to score first, Sia is 1,000% correct on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will ask you one very, very simple question. Do you want to do that work? I didn't think so. Next level, period. Hashtag. But where do we make these bets? You guys always ask me, and you have most all of you have answered the call. It's been amazing. And we have meetings this week to talk about next steps. That's where we're at because of all of you. Now, new BetMGM customers can sign up today and get $200 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10, and you'll receive $200 instantly in bonus bets, regardless of your wager's outcome, with bonus code EDGE200. That's bonus code EDGE200. And we're working on that promo code Coach coming very soon, huh, AB?
Yes,
that
sir.
Promo code going. Yes, sir, is right. Now, I love when we get to this team because the man, as the chat says, with the perfect hair gets a little bit bigger of a smile on his face. Yeah, it would.
I was process of elimination. I figured it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you could just eliminate 2.
Yeah, we are very follically challenged, the other 2 of us on this show. So we know from the pictures behind you that you are a Commanders fan through and through. And it's been an up and down season for your fandom. But today, you welcome in a New York Giants team that's on their 8th quarterback this year. And they're getting 9. The total is 38.5. See ya. As I look at my notes, you have not 1, but 2 official plays in this game. What do you have?
2 plays that are going to seem to contradict each other, but trust me, they don't. And by the way, if Washington had they lost last week on a last-second field goal to Seattle, which, a lot of people think Seattle's a very good team. I'm not really one of them. Long story short, they'd be 5-5 and thickly in the playoff race if they had won that game. Maybe if they win this game and somehow upset the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, maybe they get back into the conversation. But I like them to cover against the Tommy DeVito-led New York Giants. So, I think the analysis is pretty simple in terms of the Commanders minus 8.5. I understand that the Commanders defense has lost a couple of pieces, but they've had some spirited efforts over the last 2 weeks against the Patriots and against the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, they've been pretty bad, but they've also, at least last week, went up against pretty good receivers, a good running back, and a good quarterback. You just don't have that here. You don't have the tight end Darren Waller, but you just have a host of receivers that probably aren't going to get the ball much coming from Tommy DeVito. I think Saquon Barkley is going to get a lot of run here in the passing game and in the rushing game. I just don't see the Giants moving the ball. On the other hand, I think Sam Howell and company through Brian Robinson and some of the receivers are going to be able to score enough to cover this line. So I like the Commanders minus 8.5. And then I'm going to take Sam Howell's under 255.5 passing yards. This line has started to go up, and it went up to a place where I thought, okay, now I need to take the under. And it's largely because we're going to see Washington in a game script that they're just not used to. If I like the Commanders to win potentially by double digits, I don't like Sam Howell to pass a ton, particularly in the second half. I think we're going to see a lot of short area passing, which we have seen, not much yak, and we're going to see a lot of Brian Robinson. So I think he could get close to this number. But again, we see a lot of pass rate over expectation when it comes to Washington and Sam Howell, but that's usually in neutral and trailing game scripts. In a positive game script, it's a completely different story, or at least it should be. So give me the under 255.5 passing yards.
Incredibly, incredibly smart. The NFL, to Sia's point, is very different than college football. If you see a lot of points or expect a lot of points, normally the quarterback has to throw for a lot of yards. In college, NFL is usually different. And it's finding those little pockets where you can find the difference. Love both of these plays. AB, let me come to you, though. The total is so low that this morning, when I was doing my handicap and what games am I going to play, I leaned to the total because last week we saw the Giants were able to score some points against Dallas. And I think if they can get to 17, then I think this sails to the over. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy. Now, look, Sia is spot on with these 2 plays, right? He nailed it. He said, yeah, it doesn't look like they're correlated, but they are. And he's 100% correct. They absolutely are correlated because they're just not going to need Sam Howell in the second half. That being said, Coach, exactly what you just said. There will be potential for garbage time points in this game. The Giants are averaging 11.4 points per game this season, and they've been outscored by 148 points this year. It's insanity. So that being said, I think the 2 plays from Sia and what you just said, pretty strong, because the best thing that could happen for that is that the Giants actually do make it somewhat of a game. And what we've seen when they score, it's by some fluke, weird, an interception, a fumble, and they get the ball in the other team's red zone, short field, punch one in, and you steal points. So I agree with both of you completely.
So speaking of stealing points, see, let me come back to you. Team total, as I'm listening to AB talk, 23.5. Your thoughts?
I would probably lean the under there. And I think it's because both teams, especially Washington, knowing that they can only really lose this game if they do anything kind of stupid. Don't get me wrong. Sam Howell will chuck it around a little bit, but I see a lot of these teams sort of burning clock. I think we're going to see Tommy DeVito, short area passing game, kind of reliable passes that are going to get 3 or 4 yards. Saquon Barkley running the ball against a Washington front four that's not exactly formidable. So I see a lot of long drives on both sides of the ball. So to me, everything leans under with that in mind.
Did you use the phrase do something stupid? Did you say that?
I did.
Yeah. Well, in a related story, Buckets is in the chat. If you have any questions for him, put them in the chat, and he will answer them for you in real time. And if you even dare ask for our records in the NFL, you will embarrass yourself because this man is right there at the top.
Coach, speaking of that, when we get to the next game, I have a question for Buckets to answer live in the chat. Just setting that up.
Well, then I've got to come to you first. I can't wait for that. So the next game is this, the Cowboys, who just blew out the Giants for the second straight time. So they go to Carolina, and they have to figure out a way to get locked and loaded because their season is still right in front of them. Still right in front of them. They're laying 10.5, the total 42.5. So, AB, I'm coming to you. Floor is yours. Talk to me.
All right. This is a weird game for the Cowboys. You're going on the road. You're facing a team that's not good at all. That being said, mistakes can happen in games like this, specifically early. So, Buckets, my question to you as I put my pick up, we're going with the BetMGM Early Edge Special. Dak Prescott and Bryce Young over 1.5 interceptions at -120. So, Buckets, the question to you is this. Who throws a pick first in this game? D. Prescott or B. Young? And breaking down why either of these quarterbacks can throw two on their own. So that's why it's -120. This is usually +150 or better. That goes to show you right there. So that's the question, Buckets, for you.
What's sad is how good the chat is. Sia always says how fire they are. They literally just asked Buckets a question. They said, what do you think about K. Murray today? That's how good the chat is. K. Murray. Oh, I can't wait to see what Bucket's answer is for that because, as you know, the no-fly zone is his. He's just taking it from AB. He doesn't even care. It's his own no-fly zone now.
If you come in and just steal it and you can do it, what am I going to say, you know?
In the dark of night. In the dark of night. Uncle Dave is on Rico Dupree. Over 26.5 rush yards. The reason being, if you watch the prop show, then you know this. They expect Detroit to win by a lot. Who is the backup running back that could get some yards today? See it quickly.
Well, Rico Dupree would be, for Dallas at least.
Yeah, Rico Dupree would be. And you also think the other running back could have a big game today. Who are you on, sir?
By the way, rewind 7 days. I literally told everybody that was in the chat, that was watching at home, Rico Dupree will score a touchdown. What did Rico Dupree do last week? Not only piled up a bunch of yards, but he scored a touchdown. This time, it's not that I'm fading Rico.
Real quick. Jose says Rico is out today.
Actually, he's actually going to play.
Okay.
There was, unless something happened in the last 20 minutes, because there were rumors he may be out today, but it looks like he's active.
Okay, very good. My apologies for ruining your flow. Please continue.
Yeah, I'm going to the primary running back here, Tony Pollard. And for everybody that's sort of listening right now and they're like, no, you're not really going to Tony Pollard, are you? I will say this. I haven't taken a Tony Pollard over this entire year. The reason I'm taking it this week is because the matchup is so great against Carolina. We have a very positive game script. And again, Carolina cannot stop the run. What's really important here, though, is if you go back 2 weeks ago when Carolina was at home and they played a high-powered offense, or I should say a high-powered passing attack in the Houston Texans, they won that game, if you recall, and they basically dared the Texans to run the ball. Why do I say that? They were just creating light boxes. They were basically saying, if you're in a pass play here, you're going to check to the run because we have nobody in the box. That's exactly what I think they're going to do against the Dallas Cowboys because they respect the passing game so much. And frankly, the running game has been very inefficient. Take that and then take the rushing attempt total, the projected rushing attempt total for Tony Pollard, which is 16.5 juice to the under. So let's take 16. 4.2 yards per carry will eclipse this number that we need to get 65.5 rushing yards. And frankly, I think he's going to break 1 or 2 runs. So I don't think we need to lean on the 4.2. I think we're going to look at like 4.5 to 5 yards per carry. And maybe he breaks one because of those light boxes that I anticipate, which I saw in that Texans game just 2 weeks ago.
Boom. Hashtag educate and entertain. Oh, did you guys see that? By the way, Jose, don't ever apologize. You did nothing wrong. You're just trying to help, as AB told you. So we appreciate everybody wanting to pitch in and help the brand. That's what we're all about. Collective, together, team, every day. Every day. Now, where was I just going to go? How about to AB? Because AB, we've already talked about this game, but I need to move to the next one because this is your squad. This is your team. This is where you're from. Nobody knows Tennessee better than my man, AB. So you're traveling to Jacksonville. This number has kind of been hovering between 6 and 7 all week. Ryan Tannehill, he is active. He will back up Will Levis as the starter today for Tennessee. So speaking of Will Levis, you both are in Simpatico today. So AB, I want you to start, and Sia, you piggyback. Tell me why.
This is going to be a tough game for Will Levis. We all remember his first game when he started, 4 touchdowns, no picks. The guy was looking like the next Phillip Rivers, right? Well, the next 2 games he threw 2 interceptions, 8 sacks, and 0 touchdowns since then. We're going to take Will Levis over half an interception today. You look at the Jaguars, their defense isn't that great, but they create turnovers at an insane amount. They have 18 takeaways this season, and they do it through picks. They'll do it over and over and over. And you look at the Tennessee Titans, they have no offensive line. They barely have a run game. They have no wide receivers. Will Levis is going to have to throw the ball. And Mike Vrabel, while he can't create magic, there's only so much you have left in the bag. Yeah, Levis is throwing a pick today.
See it.
You know, it's funny. I had this pick as well, and I thought to myself, I'm pretty sure AB is going to have this pick because he is the interception king. He's the turnover king. And oh, by the way, he lives like next door to Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. So yeah, my bad for kind of like duplicating AB here. I don't take interception props, but I guess what I'm doing here is bold facing what I knew AB was going to have. Again, I don't take these props, but it just sets up so well for Will Levis to throw an interception. You mentioned Ryan Tannehill, coach. The reason he probably comes in is probably not for lack of efficiency, which we might see from Will Levis. It's probably because he's forced to throw against a Jacksonville D-line front 7 that is really good against the run. It's going to make Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans very one-dimensional, and that's going to lead to some turnovers. So I think Will Levis throws a pick here. I think minus 140 is a really good number.
And if it doesn't happen early, I can see it happening late when they're down by 10 or 14 points and you really got to press the issue. That's when that overthrow comes. That's when the interception comes, and that could happen late in the game. So don't tweet, oh, he hasn't thrown a pick yet. Just wait till the end of the game. By the way, Goat in the chat says this is a bounce back for the Jags. Well, guess what? RJ White, the stoic one, he believes that too. RJ from our NFL Mega Preview on Tuesday, he's on the Jags minus 6.5. EC from the Prop Show, Brandon McManus, over 1.5 field goals, and also Christian Kirk, over 58.5 receiving yards, minus 130. This could be a bounce back day for Trevor Lawrence and that entire offense against Tennessee today.
Coach, real quick, let me just say, yeah, the Jaguars understand that this game today is essentially winning the AFC South. If they can take this game, beat the Titans, the Colts aren't going to win it. The Texans aren't going to win it. The Jaguars handle their business. They're in the driver's seat to win this division. It is an incredibly important game for Jacksonville.
So let's put together, let's just call an audible real quick. We just crossed the bottom of the hour. Top of the hour, all the 1 o'clock games. Let's put together for the good people home a teaser that we can give out. So let's make Jacksonville the first day. So that would take it down to a half, minus a half. Who else do we want to put with the Jags today? I would raise my hand and say the Steelers, which would take it to +8. Do we like that? Can we?
I don't like that. I personally don't like that because I think it could, I don't know how that game's going to go, but I think it could get away from either of those offenses. Okay. If you see a trailing game script, the defense could really take over and that tease just goes away.
Well, we saw that last week when the counselor set me straight with the 49ers. I lost that. He goes, hey, blowout potential. I don't know if 34-3 is a blowout, but we'll deal with that later.
But now, Coach, you liked Detroit, and you could tease them down to -2, -1.5, however you wanted to do the tease. But certainly -2 in play there.
Would you go with the Lions, AB collective?
Yep, love it. That's probably the smart play.
All right, I'm going to bet it live here on the show right now, right here, right now. We don't tease, we do. So I've got Jacksonville at -0.5, and I have Detroit at -2. We feel good about it.
For the record, if you don't like that, a team to sub in, for those listening at home and for some reason they don't like one of those legs, I think Washington, which you take down to 1.5, is a pretty good play. Again, Tommy DeVito on the other side of the ball there.
I might play both of those. I like both of those a lot. All right, there you go. Live on the show. Hashtag it pays to watch live. for everybody that's going to come in and just look at the recap screen, first of all, you're going to be too late because the game started at 1. Second of all, you're going to miss all of this. And this business is about knowledge. Knowledge is power. Now, one more game at 1 o'clock today. And I told you guys earlier this week right here on the Early Edge that I bet C.J. Stroud at plus 2,200 to win the MVP. This will continue to go down if he has another banger game today. Minus 5.5, total 48. Kyler Murray, or for you buckets in the chat, K. Murray, is back for the Cardinals. Uncle Dave is on Matt Prater over 1.5 field goals, plus 104. So, AB, let me come to you first. Houston, right now, most people don't realize this. They own the final wild card spot in the AFC. They have quietly, with all these crazy wins, moved into playoff contention. So now we throw that added pressure on them today. What are your thoughts?
The Texans are playing so much better than anyone thought that they would. CJ Stroud, obviously. I'll keep it very simple because I don't have any picks on this game. Anything that you want to do, Kyler Murray, running the ball, do it. He'll rush the football. He'll run because that's all that they have. And number two, if you want to take anything with attempts with CJ Stroud today, do it because I think this game could get weird. So, yeah, but anything Kyler Murray running the football, that's probably your best bet. Anything else, risky as hell. Good luck.
So 34.5 are the attempts for CJ Stroud.
I like it.
You like him to go over that?
Yeah, that's all they do. I mean, that's all they do is throw the football. So, I mean, whether they're up, whether they're down, they're going to throw the football.
All right. So we've got that on one side. Counselor, how are you approaching this game?
Well, I'll tell you from a DFS standpoint, for those of you listening that play on whatever it is, DraftKings or FanDuel or Yahoo, this is a very popular game because the total is 48. The game conditions are great in a dome. And frankly, whether it's Stroud or whether it's Kyler Murray or frankly, Trey McBride, Dalton Schultz, like all of these guys are very much in play. Devin Singletary, only 5,300. That's how I'm attacking this game from a DFS standpoint. If I had to attack it from a spread standpoint, I would probably take the dog because I think 5.5 is just too many points. I think this game probably is a 3 or 4 point game. With that said, I'm laying off of it.
All right. Full transparency. I played the over. I can't remember what number I got it at, but I played the over this morning because I hear you guys say weird. I hear you guys say certain specific things. Last week, I went and looked, and the Cardinals scored 25 points in Kyler Murray's first game back. I don't think they'll win today, but if they scored 25 points last week, I think they can only get better this week. Yep. So I think that speaks to points, and we know Houston scores a lot of points. By the way, Raven says, AB, you have that strong long-haul trucker vibe going today.
You know what? Somebody's got to get on the road and deliver. I'm trying to be that guy.
Interesting. Somebody has to deliver for the show. I agree. All right, here is the AM slate early for some of our best bets to throw them up there. So we're going to leave them up there as we tackle the 3-4 o'clock games today. Let that resonate just for a little bit. Get your picks in. Take a screenshot if you so choose. Now, see, I've said it a couple times. I said it maybe 3 minutes ago. Last week, you showed why you are one of the absolute very best. I gave you a play. You said I hate it, and it played out exactly how you said it was going to play. And it doesn't always happen, but that's how next level you are. So I'm going to start with you because this is the team that we're talking about. 49ers, they bounced back from the 3-game losing streak to resounding success, blowing out Jacksonville in Jacksonville. So they're back home. A robust 13.5-point spread, according to BetMGM. Total sitting at 42. Now, this one, if people pay attention on SportsLine, this one has been much lower earlier in the week. Educate the good people.
Well, I'll tell you this. San Francisco is the best team in the NFL. I said that last year, too, and I actually still think it was true. Just injuries sort of held them back, particularly in that Eagles game with Brock Purdy going down. I don't think the market has fully caught up to, granted, this is a huge line. I don't think the market is still fully caught up to how good San Francisco is when they have Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel healthy with all of their other skill position players healthy, and they add Chase Young to the mix. I think it's going to be a tough go for Baker Mayfield. I don't think he's going to have time to throw. Yeah, he'll enjoy some dump offs here and there to guys like Rachaad White, but the San Francisco offense, they're so efficient when they're healthy on the offensive line and at the skill position. So I just think this is one of those things where you can guarantee, I shouldn't say guarantee, but it's very likely we're seeing 27 to 30 points from San Francisco. And the question becomes, how much can Baker Mayfield and company put up against this San Francisco defense? I don't think it's much. Don't forget, the Buccaneers are coming off a win against the Titans last week, but they had lost 4 in a row prior to that. And the reason is because they're not a very good team. They're not one of the worst teams in the NFL, but they're certainly not a very good team. Now they have to travel to the West Coast to play what I think is the best team in the NFL. I put this out on SportsLine yesterday, I believe, at minus 11.5. It's already up to 13.5 in a lot of circles. At that point, I'd still consider it, but honestly, that you've lost some value there. Either way, I think San Francisco rolls probably by 14 or more.
And if you want to play San Francisco, you want to get them before it hits that all-important 14 number, if that's something that you choose to do. Now, Proppy is on Brandon Ayuk over 67.5 receiving yards, minus 115. That, of course, from the Prop Show. So, AB, I'll come to you. It's a big number, and normally we don't like to hit the total when it comes to San Francisco because they are the kings of getting a big lead. We saw it last week and just milking the rest of the game away. What does this do for you?
Yeah, that's what they do, is that they just milk games out. They'll score. If you're going to play anything, play San Francisco points first half. They play very similar to how Michigan does. If anybody watched Michigan, Maryland yesterday, Michigan gets up 23-3, ended up being 23-10 at halftime. That's just what they do. That's what the 49ers do. That's how they go about it. I wanted to play turnovers in this one, but you're pretty much counting on Baker Mayfield, which he could do that. But Sia nailed it on the 49ers side. They're just so damn efficient that it's just brutal. So no picks from me. It's San Francisco. I play what Sia has. I like it. Nothing further from me. Nothing I need to add.
Counselor, go.
I was just going to say, last week, if you recall, I had Mike Evans over. I almost said Lee Evans, old Buffalo Bills receiver. Mike Evans over 61.5 receiving yards. He absolutely smashed that. I think he doubled it and then some. He's down now to like 56.5, and there's good reason. Like, how many targets is he going to get? How much down the field work is he going to get with that pass rush coming at Baker? But I do think he eclipses the 56.5. So that is a prop I would strongly consider. Not an official play, but Mike Evans over 56, 57, wherever it is at your book. As long as it's under 60, listen, he's going to get some jump balls. He's going to get some down the field work. And the boundary receivers, that's where San Francisco has problems covering receivers. So Mike Evans is very much in play.
All right. Remember, this is a late game, so you still have some extra time to get that in. You don't have to race and do it right now. By the way, they're going down memory lane apparently in the chat, and they're reminiscing about the time that AB hosted a show from McDonald's and your car. Yes. All the different places.
Yep.
Next level.
We've also been banned and kicked out of that McDonald's. They told us to never come back.
They see AB walking in with a bag. No.
Yep.
You're
McDonald's, Nashville Airport. Yep. Apologies, fellas.
True story. When I was in college, we didn't have, I was the radio voice of my little town in Kansas. I would host a show for McDonald's and another show from Wendy's, and I got college credit for it. Swear to God. All I had to do was write a recap every week. You too?
No, but I just wanted to put it out there since we're talking fast foods. Wendy's is so much better than McDonald's. I'm just throwing it out there. I think that's my number one fast food franchise. Over Chick-fil-A, by the way.
It is. Original crispy chicken sandwich. Dave's Double.
Spicy.
Spicy. Okay. Yeah.
Just, I don't like
Asiago.
McDonald's nuggets are better.
Debatable. Asiago Ranch Chicken Club is the best thing that'll ever happen to you. Wendy's. Let's go.
We might have to have a separate show just for that, because we can go deep.
I'm ready right now. Let's go. Well, we won't cut the show at 1. We'll just keep going. Let's go.
That'd be a ton of fun.
Well, the last part on that McDonald's at the Nashville airport, Donaldson Pike, anybody that has been to Nashville or lives in Nashville, there's a Wendy's right beside it. So
and if you mention the early edge, they'll give you a free Frosty.
Oh, yeah. Wendy's will welcome you in.
No, not Frosty. That's right. They're not the Frosty. Wendy's is the Frosty. By the way, mine only has peppermint and chocolate Frosties right now. What is going on? All right. Now, this next game, and I got to be honest with you guys. When I brought this to RJ's attention on the I had to walk like I was walking on eggshells. I didn't even know how to deliver this when you're talking about 500. Josh Allen losing your offensive coordinator. All of a sudden, there's turmoil everywhere. Stephon Diggs' brother is saying, get my brother, number 14, out of town. All that happened this week, but yet they're still favored by 8. Jets coming to town, 39.5. Proppy is on James Cook over 51.5 rushing yards. We hit him last week. Also, Garrett Wilson over 65.5 receiving yards, -115. He's the only weapon that the Jets have. Then EC is on Josh Allen under 241.5 passing yards. He believes this good Jets defense will be able to hold Josh Allen in check. So, Counselor, I come to you first. Do you think the Jets defense can hold Josh Allen in check?
Not really. I mean, I think Josh Allen is the one who can hold Josh Allen in check because he just delivers the ball to the other team so much. So that I answered your question in two different ways, but I do think the Bills likely cover this spread. It's not an official play for me, but the Bills are in a really interesting spot. First of all, I think you could go down narrative street a little bit and say, now that Ken Dorsey is out, maybe you get a more spirited effort, especially on offense. And we know the Bills defense is kind of like, obviously without Matt Milano, without Tre'Davious White, they have some major issues. But I don't think the Jets can get it done. 7 is a huge spread. The Bills have new life now with some of these injuries in the AFC. Like, they are a very viable candidate all of a sudden to maybe get back into the playoff conversation. I think they take care of things at home here. I think they probably win by more than 7, but it's such a big line that I'm not willing to take it. But I do think the Bills might roll here.
Yeah, I agree with you. AB, do you think the Bills roll today?
I'll say this. This game is risky because the Bills, what you just described, there's the feeling that, okay, they're going to put it together and they're going to explode and just beat the hell out of someone. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or if it's even going to happen at all, right? That's the worry here. I'll give you a stat on Josh Allen. He has been a starter against the Jets 10 times, 10 games. He has 15 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. 17 interceptions in 10 games as a starter against the Jets. And that's when the Jets weren't any good. Like, just be careful. If you're going to play anything, play Josh Allen. Turnovers. He'll do it. The guy will absolutely do it because they have no run game.
Right.
Yeah.
Not only is he throwing interceptions, AB, I feel like he's throwing horrible interceptions. Like, they're bad interceptions, like what a rookie would make, like what Zach Wilson would do. Boy, right now it is exploding quickly in Buffalo. All right. See, I'm going to start with AB on this one because he has pinpointed this last game today as a place where we could see some serious turnovers. Now, Matthew Stafford, he is back for the Rams. Hence, they're favored by 1.5. The Seahawks, they've got to figure this out because the 49ers are now getting back healthy. They cannot give any games away in the NFC West. So, AB, when you attack this game, how are you doing it?
We are going to attack this game by turnovers. I love that Stafford is back in. That being said, we're going to play it over 2.5 turnovers for -115 on this game. And I will tell you why. Sean McVay has owned Pete Carroll in his career. That being said, Sean McVay's had some pretty good teams. They're playing well, better than we thought that they would this year, but they're not that good. They're going to turn the ball over. And Geno Smith and Seattle will do the exact same thing. So we have interceptions, fumbles, anything counts in this one. Take it over 2.5 turnovers.
We've been playing these in different games the last couple of weeks, and it's amazing how quickly those turnovers come when they start coming, right? So, Sia, let me come to you, big boy, because the Seahawks, they seem to be a different team away from the friendly confines, and they need this game today, as do the Rams. And with Matthew Stafford back, it kind of opens up the prop side for the Los Angeles Rams, which is something we haven't been able to do the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it's tough to always, like every week, it's tough to understand, is it going to be Cooper Kupp? Is it going to be Puka Nacua? Is it going to be both? Is Darrell Henderson going to get a lot of touches? How valuable are those touches going to be? But as I go through those mental impressions of where I think I like some offensive stats for the Los Angeles Rams, I start to consider just playing the Los Angeles Rams. I think Seattle, going into the season, I know a lot of people were big on Seattle. And listen, they might end up being a good team. I'm not really sure. But I was never one of those guys big on Seattle. You can make the argument that they should have lost to Washington last week. And I can't really recall a game where they weren't underwhelming. With that said, now you walk into Los Angeles, into SoFi, and I just think the Rams, as constructed right now, even without Kyren Williams, I think they can win this game. And so I would actually lean towards the Rams here, money line, probably lean a little bit towards the under. But yeah, Rams money line sounds pretty good to me. Two quick things to point out. Somebody asked if they thought Khalil Shakir might get more touches in the Bills game. His yardage prop is 28.5. I do lean over there. And then Matt Ray pointed out something really interesting. Dorian Thompson-Robinson's rushing prop of 22.5. He said that was his favorite play. I really like that play. I would take the over there as well.
Look at that. Extra bonus plays from apparently a person that the chat believes is a fraud. They're calling you a fraud, Sia Nejad. They said there is no universe where you would know over AB the best fast food places in America. They said you're in way too good a shape, and you also eat at 5-star restaurants because that's how you carry yourself as a 5-star person.
I was going to say that's actually a compliment, right? Like, see it, like it's a compliment receiving that. Yeah.
He says no. He's like,
it
no,
is not. You'd be surprised at how much fast food I've consumed in my lifetime. Very, very surprised.
Interesting.
It's called high metabolism.
Speaking of food, to end this, one thing to pay attention to is that you have teams that are going to be playing short weeks this week with Thanksgiving and Black Friday. And the Seahawks are one of them. They host the 49ers. So don't tell me that they don't have their eyes on that one as well. Just something to pay attention to this week with certain teams.
Dallas is one of those, obviously. Detroit is one of those, obviously. 3 games on Thursday and a game, most people don't realize this, on Black Friday for the first time ever. So there's a 3 on Thursday, 1 on Friday. We will have one show Thursday morning with us 3 right here, and we'll have one show on Friday. No prop show this week. We're going to wrap it all together into one show so the whole crew can go enjoy their families, and all of you can as well. Gentlemen, well done today. As always, well done. Do not forget, tonight we are back live for primetime early edge, counting down to Sunday Night Football. It's the Vikings and the Broncos, a sneaky good game. Vikings are on a long winning streak, the longest in the entire NFL, and the Broncos, got to put a little respect on their name as well. They have won several games. Russell Wilson not throwing any interceptions. It's going to be a good one tonight. We'll break it all down with Coach Phil, me, AB, Sia, the entire crew tonight. Maestro and EC, I believe. All right. I think we go 6 wide tonight. But in the meantime, enjoy the games this afternoon. Pay it forward. Get ready for your long trip home in the car tomorrow. And don't forget, you can get us on the radio too. Just subscribe to our podcast. We got you even when you're heading home to grandma's house for Thanksgiving dinner. So with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these Sunday tickets straight to the pay window. My entire group, level counselor, AB. I am the coach trying to keep this train on said track. Never forget about our man, the Snake, the executive producer of this entire brand. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's truly what we're all about right here at the Early Edge. Good luck.